Welcome to the deep dive. We are jumping straight into a conflict that really just lays bare the financial cracks in the modern music industry.
Yeah, it's a story we see variations of, independent label, superstar talent.
But this time, the indie label walked away with over $1 million. And the superstar never really gave them public credit.
We're talking about that surprising and honestly very contract-driven clash between San Francisco mogul JT, the Bigga Figga founder of Get Low Records, and of course the Compton superstar, The Game.
Right. So our mission today is to really unpack the source material here. We want to figure out the exact mechanics. How did this legally solid work for hire agreement let one independent guy, Joseph David Thompson,
JT, yeah.
how did it let him profit sustainably from an artist, Jayceon Taylor, who blew up globally under Dr. Dre and Aftermath?
It's fascinating. It really boils down to the economics of owning assets versus just, being famous.
A masterful case study, really, in contracts and leverage.
Totally. So let's set the scene. The players? JT the Bigga Figga, he'd been around since '91, building Get Low Records. He wasn't just some label guy.
No, he had a rep, right.
Oh, yeah. Known in the Bay Area as a really savvy entrepreneur. Understood distribution, understood ownership. He'd worked with big names like Master P, Daz Dillinger, respected people.
So established, grounded. Meanwhile, The Game, back in 2002, he's just this aspiring rapper. Hungry, looking for that break.
Exactly. And that's when he signs the key document, the foundation for this whole thing.
Okay, tell us about that contract, because that seems to be the linchpin.
It absolutely is. It was a work-for-hire agreement with Get Low Records. This is critical, the bedrock of JT's whole strategy later on.
Okay, so work for hire, what does that actually mean, practically speaking, compared to a normal deal?
Good question. See, normally, a development deal might give the label a slice, a percentage of future sales. But work for hire, it means the artist gets paid a fee, sure.
Like a session musician, almost.
Kind of, yeah. But the crucial part is the product, the actual recordings, the masters. They are owned, completely owned, by the company that hired the artist. In this case, Get Low Entertainment.
Wow. Okay, that flips the whole power dynamic right from the start.
Completely. And the sources say The Game laid down over 30 tracks under this agreement.
30 tracks! That's a serious investment by JT Studio Time Production.
Absolutely. He covered the costs. And legally, JT now owned enough material for maybe 2-3 albums.
And it wasn't just hitting a record, right? JT was strategic about how he recorded him.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
This wasn't just random studio time. JT was actively developing the product that would eventually catch the major's eye. He didn't just capture the sound, he engineered the whole presentation.
Like that QB2 Compton mixtape.
Exactly. That mixtape was kind of genius positioning.
How so?
Well, JT put the Game right alongside these pre-existing unused tracks from huge stars like Nas.
Ah, okay, so instant credibility by association.
Precisely. It made the Game look like he was already playing in the big leagues. Borrowed credibility, basically, used as a launch pad.
So he's building the brand, not just the music.
Yes. And JT also claims he introduced the name Black Wall Street, which, the Game later ran with famously, and even the sound itself. JT apparently recorded him using what he called Bay Area formatting, pushed him towards this really specific, hungry, fiery delivery, made him sound ready.
So it was like a short, intense incubation. Legal structure, assets, branding, style, all set up by JT.
You got it. And clearly it worked. Because about 4 months, just 4 months after signing with Get Low, bam, the Game lands that massive deal, Dr. Dre's Aftermath, Interscope distribution, the big time.
Okay, so here's the pivot. The Game gets the major deal. How does that transition happen, according to the sources? Smoothly.
Not exactly smoothly. This is where, the ethics or maybe the lack thereof really come into focus. GT's side of the story is that the Game basically just ghosted.
Ghosted, like no call, no, hey, I got this off.
Apparently not. Allegedly. Never told Get Low about the Aftermath talks.
Yeah.
Just vanished. And supposedly took songs recorded under that work-for-hire contract straight over to Aftermath.
Wow. Without offering JT anything, no compensation for the development, the tracks.
Zero, according to JT. No payment for the foundational work, the materials used. Nothing.
Okay, in the music world, that's a big deal. A potential betrayal of trust.
Huge. But legally, JT had that contract. He owned the assets. So instead of maybe getting bogged down in suing the Game directly,
He went bigger.
he went straight to the giant, Interscope. He decided to sell his property to them.
That shows some serious business sense, walking into the lion's den.
Totally. He walks into Interscope, lays it out, offers to sell all of the game's pre-Aftermath recordings, the masters he legally owned, for $450,000.
450K. To basically clean up a potential legal mess before their new artist explodes seems like a no-brainer.
You'd think. But Interscope apparently made him wait 4 days, the sources say.
4 days, okay.
And then they declined. Said the material was old. Said the game, don't rap like that no more.
Wait, what? They passed on owning the entire early catalog of the guy they were about to pour millions into for less than $500,000.
That's the story. And, we have to ask, was it just corporate arrogance? Did they genuinely think those tapes were worthless?
Or maybe they just didn't grasp the power of JT's contract.
Could be. But the sources strongly suggest that they badly miscalculated the value. The value of owning an artist's entire history, especially when they were backing so heavily.
It seems like incredibly bad math, honestly, regardless of how much they loved his new sound.
JT certainly thought so. He immediately called it. Said Interscope made a massive mistake. He called those early recordings rookie card material.
Rookie card material. That's perfect. The value isn't just the now, it's the historical significance later.
Exactly. Once the game became a global star, those early tracks, they become essential collector's items. The rare original stuff fans hunt down. Interscope let that slip away.
Okay, let's shift gears hard now to the money, because this contrast is really the heart of the business lesson here.
Yeah, the David versus Goliath financials.
We've got the game, the shiny new major label superstar, and JT, the independent guy holding the assets. Let's look at the game's side first. The weight on his shoulders.
Right. So under Aftermath Interscope, he had massive resources, no doubt. But those resources, they came at a steep price.
The advance, the marketing spend.
The sources mention Aftermath and Interscope spent over $5 million developing them.
$5 million. Wow.
And you, listening, you really need to get the weight of that number, that $5 million. It's basically a debt. The artist has to pay that back, dollar for dollar, out of their earnings before they see any real profit.
That's the infamous recoupment trap.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Even if they hit recoupment, that profit then gets sliced up.
Right, everyone gets a piece.
Everyone. 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, Desperado Entertainment, management teams, they're all taking percentages. We're talking maybe 20% or more just gone, right off the top.
So, the game, despite the fame, is essentially operating deep in the red, leveraging his future against this huge institutional debt.
His success was built on leveraged finance, basically. Highly leveraged.
Okay, now contrast that with JT's situation.
Night and day. JT has this pure, unleveraged asset. The masters he owns outright, he doesn't need permission from the game, from Interscope, from anyone.
He just puts the music out himself.
Exactly. He went completely independent, and here's the kicker. He used the major label's massive publicity machine, all that hype around the game, as his own free marketing.
That's brilliant. So Aftermath spends millions promoting the game.
And JT reaps the benefits by selling the early stuff that fans are now curious about. It's the difference between owing venture capital and just having pure cash flow.
So how did JT release it?
He put out albums using those masters, notably The Untold Story, which he released via Tuck Records, a big independent distributor, and later West Coast Resurrection.
And because he owned it 100% thanks to that work for hire.
His profit margins were, astronomical compared to the major label setup.
Astronomical how? Do the sources give numbers?
Yeah, JT claimed he was making around $8 profit for every single unit he sold independently.
$8 a unit compared to the pennies an artist might get after recoupment on a major.
Exactly. So look at his projections. He figured $800,000 profit just from the first 100,000 units sold.
Wow.
While the game is digging out of that $5 million hole, JT is generating immediate, high-margin, basically passive income. He eventually claimed he made over $1 million just from those independent releases.
Over $1 million from the recordings Interscope called Old.
Yep. And he even speculated, if the material went gold sold 500,000 units, he'd be looking at maybe $4 million.
Incredible. And what did JT, the independent businessman, do with that clean cash? Was he buying chains and cars?
Nope. His focus was completely different. It was all about sustainability, long-term wealth.
How so?
The sources say he was explicitly funneling those music profits into real estate. He talked about using the money to flip a few condos, apartment buildings.
Tangible assets.
Exactly. The music became the engine to create lasting, non-volatile wealth. He literally turned the game's global fame into bricks and mortar in the Bay Area.
That's a fundamentally different mindset than the typical major label artist's dream.
Different business philosophy.
Okay, so the financial side is stark. But there's another layer here, right? The whole cultural aspect, the social currency in hip-hop.
Yeah, absolutely. Loyalty, giving credit where it's due, that stuff matters. To put you on culture.
And the game's silence about JT's role, that didn't go unnoticed.
Not at all. It was widely seen as a major breach of that code. Here he is blowing up worldwide, and the guy who arguably gave him his initial shot, his initial sound, is just unmentioned, while actively releasing his early music.
Did the game ever address it?
Indirectly, maybe. There were comments later in XXL magazine, kind of vague references to cutting out people who would rather get theirs now, but no direct public credit to JT.
And did that lack of acknowledgement have consequences, like beyond just talk?
Oh, yeah. It came with a specific cost, a reputation tax, especially locally.
Back in the Bay Area.
Exactly. This is a key insight from the sources. The reaction there was apparently pretty harsh. Local industry people, other artists, they might have liked the music, respected the skill.
But not the man.
Pretty much. The sentiment was described bluntly as F the game as a person, which, the sources say, led to him losing credibility in the streets because of how he handled that departure.
So he kind of traded that local, street-level respect for the global commercial fame.
Seems like it. And in hip-hop, where authenticity is currency, losing that local credibility, that could be a long-term issue.
Yeah, that can affect collaborations, touring, just your standing within the culture.
For sure. But JT, he just watched all this happen, viewing it purely through a business lens.
Right. He didn't seem bothered by the lack of friendship.
Not at all. His quote is pretty telling. Personally, he's not a friend of mine. We never were friends. Ever. We were just business.
So he saw the game's massive success, the press, the fame, not as a personal insult,
but as a giant, free, multi-million-dollar marketing campaign for the products he legally owned.
Aftermath was basically paying to promote JT's independent records.
It's like the ultimate parasitic business model, if you want to call it that. And it was all enabled by that initial work-for-hire contract. JT leveraged their $5 million investment without spending his own dime on marketing.
It's an incredible story. So let's boil this down. We've contrasted this massive major label debt structure with JT's $8 per unit independent profit machine. What are the big takeaways here for anyone trying to understand the music business today?
Well, I think there are two really clear defining lessons from this whole saga.
Okay, lesson one.
The indestructible contractual protection. That work-for-hire agreement JT had, it was like a legal fortress. It absolutely secured his ownership of those assets, even against the massive power of Interscope.
So sharp, focused contract writing is maybe the best weapon an independent has.
Often, yeah. It provided bulletproof protection.
And the second takeaway.
It's the brilliance of seeing the value of the rookie card. JT got it. He understood that the early raw stuff wasn't just throwaway demos. It was history.
Right, the origin story.
Exactly. That initial, relatively small investment he made in recording those 30 tracks. It got leveraged into over $1 million because the artist blew up later. He banked on the past becoming more valuable as the artist's future got brighter. Interscope missed that completely.
So, summing it up, the game got the global fame, the superstardom, but carried huge debt and maybe lost some street cred.
Right. While JT, the contract master, secured real sustainable wealth, funded his real estate portfolio using assets someone else made famous.
Which really makes you think. It raises this big question for you, the listener. What does winning actually look like in the music business or any creative industry?
Is it the immediate spotlight, the massive resources, the fame? Or is it the underlying rights, the ownership, the long-term financial independence?
JT leveraged someone else's fame to build his own sustainable, non-music wealth. Which side of that equation would you rather be on?
It suggests maybe the ultimate win isn't about sales volume or Grammy Awards.
Maybe sometimes the quiet deed for a condo in the Bay Area makes a much louder statement than a multi-platinum plaque in Hollywood.
It's something to think about.
Definitely. That's a wrap on this deep dive.